Hey everybody, Caleb Anderson here, Mountain Life 603. Back with a little informational video on boots or shoes or whatever you choose to hike in. I found myself trying to decide which pair of hiking shoes I would be using for my next hike, which is tomorrow morning. That's why I'm in my sweats with all of my hiking gear out here. And it just made me think that some people may not know what to go for when going for a hiking boot, because I've made some bad decisions, which has led me to having every different type of hiking boot for every different scenario. And the only way I got these was trial and error. So the first set you see down there is my Asolos. Those are a full leather boot, very solid. Get that for you. Very solid Vibram sole. Not very flexible, even though they have many miles on them. But they are waterproof. They're super comfortable. And when you're wearing these, it's like having big tires on your truck. Like, you pretty much feel like you can go anywhere and do anything in these. These are actually like my operator shoes. I use these in sort of a tactical environment, which kind of resonates to the type of hiking that I do in these. If I'm going to use these, which I probably will tomorrow, these are what I'm aiming for tomorrow. If I'm going to use these, it's probably going to be colder conditions, right? These are a Thinsulate. These are good down to a certain degree, I believe. Yeah, there's some sort of Thinsulate in there. They're very strong, rugged boot, and it's good for, I'll tell you this, having all of this extra around your ankles is good for being in the mountains and having rocks where your feet go, and if your foot slides off a rock and wedges in between another rock, it's nice to have this big, strong leather boot around your foot. I will give it that. Like, that's probably my favorite part about it, is especially where we go in the mountains, the rock pile, up in the presidential range and things like that. It's nice to have a big boot like this sometimes, because the sides of your feet get so beat up. They get beat up in these boots too, but these boots, there's a lot of protection to the outside of this boot. So for that reason, for the protection, the outside of this boot and the thick sole tomorrow, I believe I'm going to wear these, because there's going to be snow and we're going to be snowshoeing. I'm going to grab my snowshoes in a second, go over the gear that I'm bringing on that. That'll be another video, actually. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, by the way. So yeah, the Asolos, that's going to be like, that's your heavy traction, your all-weather, like just a super duty boot. Next down in line is more of a hiking boot slash, this is like a crossover. This is like a running boot, we'll call it. Very light. This is the North Face Vective. Again, beat up. These have gone a long way with me. This one's a little cleaner. This side's a little cleaner. These have gone a long way with me. What did I do in these? I think I did the Pemi Loop in these. No, I might have done the Pemi Loop in these. I think I did the Pemi Loop in these. Anyways, these are good support on the sides. Again, you have a lot of protection here in this sort of, it's not leather. It's not plastic. It's called Future Light. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a protective layer. I believe these are waterproof. My feet have never gotten wet in them yet. But you'll see they have like a runner's stance to them. They have this kind of rounded and the lip on the front. So they are a running boot. And again, they're extremely light. The soles on the bottom. The soles are very runner boot style, running shoe style. Cross trainer / trail runner, but the tops are more boot. And you'll say, what's the difference between that and this? Well, I've done videos on this before. These are my Salomon. These are even more of a runner. trail runner. These are like a high top trail runner, I'll call it, rather than this is like a running boot. This is like a high top trail runner, because I said this in videos before, but this doesn't have much support up here where this drawstring is. So it's not really supporting you much, and there's not much around this boot. There's not much for protection. So your feet get kind of beat up in this, but if on more flat ground, you'll want to go with something like this. So for a good all-around boot that, you know, with some wool socks can be worn in the winter, I guess. I would rather have more protection from the elements in the winter in a firm hiking boot like that. But these are a good fall, springtime, all-around boot for hiking and mountain climbing. For trail running, trails, flatter ground, uphill and downhill as well. I mean, this is a mountain runner. Don't get me wrong. This is a mountain trail running, high top trail runner. A couple of things. I need to go back and check. I'm having a mind lapse right now, but I'm pretty sure I did the Pemi Loop in these. The Pemi Loop, for those of you that don't know, is 31 miles, 18,000 feet of elevation gain, 11 4,000 foot peaks. And I believe I did them in this. I believe I did it in these. It was either these or these. But I did the Prezi Traverse in 11 hours in these. That's 21 miles. And so these are more of a trail running. They say cross hike. These are the Salomon cross hikes. They say these are I would say these are more of a trail running boot rather than a mountain climbing, hiking boot. But that's totally up to you, because I know a lot of people who would like these as a hiking boot. Nice and light, super light actually. This drawstring kind of digs into your foot after 10 or 20 miles. It digs into the top of my foot. There's not much to the top of this thing. This material is very, very thin. But they got great traction. They are waterproof. Great traction and great mobility in these. Again, not a lot of support up in here because this drawstring only has one pull point right here. So this is just left to not be pulled tight. But this is more of a flatter trail running high top shoe. And then something like this. These are really sneakerish, but there are other ones, say like these, but low top, like this high. They'll have the Salomons like this. These are just going to be trail runners for me. I would never go out without any ankle support because I have the smallest ankles in the world. I need the ankle support no matter what. Like I need something around there to make me feel comfortable enough to run. So I don't wear things like this out, even trail running. I'll wear the high top trail running. It's just my personal preference. However, my uncle did the Pemi Loop with me in something similar to this. So, and my cousin wears the same thing. Low top to some people is much more appealing. You even see basketball players out there now wearing low tops. Not my thing, but if it is your thing, go for it. Don't take anything I say to heart. I'm just putting it out there. What I think I'm going to do tomorrow is, while I'm snowshoeing, I'm going to go with this. So my gear for tomorrow, we'll go through my gear for tomorrow. So I'm going to get rid of these. All right, let me get my gear for tomorrow. You ready? 1, 2. All right, so the pack that I use, that I'll be using, I use this pack in the winter. I use this pack all the time. This is my go-to. I don't know, it's got a different buckle on here. I don't know if any of you have a favorite bag or a favorite piece of gear, but mine is my EMS bag. I've had this bag for a very, very, very long time. And I like it because it carries my board, and it can also carry my snowshoes, which I have there. So I have my snowshoes and my poles, which I can clip into my bag. And it also has a bladder in it. So that's why I just love this bag so much. It's so versatile. It's been with me coast to coast, all over the country. And that stuff will clip onto it. So that's the basic reason why this bag is always number one on my list, because I can strap things to it. My knee braces, because I'm old, I'm trying to preserve my knees, and I don't know how far we're going. It could be 11 miles, it could be 20 miles. Very important, my Katulas, micro spikes. Everybody knows micro spikes. These are a large pair of Katulas, and I will definitely be needing these tomorrow at some point, I'm sure. Well, maybe not tomorrow, because tomorrow there's going to be a lot of snow. So for the snow, we are going to be snowshoeing. I got my tubs here, which I said can strap right to my pack if I'm not using them. My poles, I like to use hiking poles anyway, so using these in the winter is even that much better. I put my cages on. The cages, you can pull the cages off. Put my cages on for the snow. Gaiters. Got my Mount Rock gaiters. These go over my solos that I'll be wearing on my feet. Again, waterproof. So we got waterproof. Yeah, stay as dry as possible. I'm gonna bring some extra socks, definitely some food. We are gonna be in a place that's rather local, not remote. So we will have cell phone service. So just the essentials. This is what I'm bringing spring hiking. It is spring in New England, but in the mountains, it's definitely still wintertime. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. The next one will be of this hike. See you then.